All right, Christian Soto here for RedChipPoker.com, and I'm gonna make this video because I've made videos for less interesting topics. I made videos for some boring hands, and this hand is the most hotly contested hand I've ever seen in Red Chip forum history. So I feel like it's only right that I make this video, and I'm gonna apologize in advance. I may get adamant in this video. I may I may even curse in this video. I don't know yet. But I am going to have fun with this one. And I want to say this too. I really like you guys who get really adamant in the forum and like really defend your side of the lines you choose to take and your ideas. I think that that's a very good thing to have in our community. I would rather you guys have that than me just tell you how to play poker and you just take that as like the holy grail, so to speak. So I really do enjoy it. I know like sometimes we're going back and forth in the forum and it can be, sometimes kind of heated. And I think that's good. I think that's how we grow as players and grow as a community. So, more power to you guys for sure. With that said, I am pretty certain that my line is correct here. So I'm going to make this video and we'll continue this in the thread and we'll post it up. But I want this to be a video. So, all right, let's get to the hand because that's where I'm excited about this. So it's a 1-2 $200 buy-in and villain 1 limps, villain 2 limps. Hero is in the small blind and he raises 21. For the record, I think this is really good. Regardless of whatever raise size you make, you're gonna look like you have a polarizing range. You're either gonna have like trash that you're stealing with, or you have a really good hand. So I do like that you chose the bigger bet size. So yeah, good job. Villain 1 calls and villain 2 calls. So obviously these guys are not the type of guys that are probably good poker players, right? Because they're limp calling 21. So yeah, I'll just say that. And the button folds. So the pot's $67 and we're out of position and we're facing 2 opponents. Now the flop comes 10-8-6 with 2 clubs, right? The 10 and the 8 being a clubs. And now we have a decision to make, right? Now we have to decide whether we want to bet or we want to check. And I just want to say that before I jumped into the conversation on the forum, almost exclusively everything was about betting. Like we should just bet the flop, bet the flop, bet the flop. And there was even conversation about a hand in Ed Miller's book where we should just jam the flop. And I think that's another story, but whatever. That was talked about. So let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about betting the flop, right? So the pot's $67. And now we have to, let's say we bet something like 45, which is perfectly reasonable. These guys don't look like they like to fold, right? They limp call 21. These are not the kind of guys that just walk around folding hands. So it's pretty obvious that with equity on this board, they're likely to peel, right? I don't see them folding 10-9. I don't see them folding Queen Jack. So it's very likely that given the board texture that hits their range massively, that we're going to see a future turn card, right? So what does that mean, right? So if we bet 45, yes, it's for value. But we are going to have to see a turn card. So I've talked to you guys about no hand has value until showdown. And I think this is a very good example. So let's say we bet. Which cards are we looking to see, right? So let's just go through the deck, right? Obviously, we don't want to see a club, right? Just for obvious reasons. The deuce is good. The 3 is good. The 4 is good. The 5 is good. And I guess the 6 is good too, right? So that's 5 cards. The 7 is god-awful. The 8 is pretty much not good because any equity that he has sometimes going to be attached to an 8. A 9 is terrible because it brings a 4 straight. A 10 pairs the top card, which is obviously not good. A jack is another terrible card because it smashes their range, it brings in other straights, it brings in 2 pairs. The queen, same thing. It brings in straights, it brings in 2 pairs, and stuff like that, right? The king obviously is good, right? Because it gives us top set. And for the record, sometimes it's going to be the king of clubs, and you're just going to get stacked. So the ace is obviously like not terrible for your range, but it makes things kind of awkward because the ace, yes, we could merge on the ace and just like mash all in, but like you're kind of like overplaying your hand, so to speak, and like maybe you should check. Like the ace is like really awkward because you don't want to check and allow them to actualize their equity, but you don't want to like jam all in a spot where it's just like kind of gross. So that's kind of awkward, right? So let's just go through the deck. The 7, the 8, the 9, the 10, the jack, the queen, and the ace are all bad, including clubs are all bad too, right? That's a lot of freaking cards. That's a lot of cards. There's a lot more cards than the good cards, right? The good cards was very short. It was like deuce 3, 4, 5, 6, king. Then the whole rest of the deck, plus all the clubs, are bad. So, what does that mean? And I'll get into the theory of it, because I want you guys to learn the theory because I think it's very important. So, when the board comes down where if the runouts are going to favor the in position player, the out of position player is incentivized to end the hand or the betting rounds or whatever at an earlier street, right? So how can we end the hand and the betting at an earlier street? It's not by betting ourselves, because if we bet, we're not going to end the hand. It's very likely that we're going to see a turn because these guys do not like to fold. This board smashes their range. So we're very likely to see a turn. And we just went over all the cards that are not good, and there's plenty of them. So what's the other option? Maybe we can check, right? So if we check, it seems like we're not ending the street, but how about if we check raise all in, right? That ends the betting because now all the money's in the middle. There's no more betting, right? So this board falls quite in line with the theory behind the play. So let's look at checking, right? So we check. And one of the big problems that you guys had is like, okay, well, how about if it checks through, Christian? Like, what happens then? Okay, let it check through. Who gives a fuck? Like, it checks through, right? The 9 of clubs falls. We check, they bet, we fold. Simple. We check through, it comes the deuce of diamonds. Guess what? We're going to go bet. Easy. And guess what, guys? If it comes the deuce of diamonds, you can even go for the check raise again. You can check. They bet their equity because now it's clear that you have like ace king, ace queen, according to them. And they bet like some mediocre hand that they didn't want to bet on the flop. And then you just mash it in now. You just go all in. And like, guess what? You're probably going to get hero called at a very high frequency because it really looks like you have nothing, right? So it checking through doesn't mean that you lost. It doesn't mean that you're losing value on your kings because, like I told you guys before, no hand has value until showdown. So it doesn't matter that you're checking flop and it checks through. If you bet flop, you're likely not going to get to showdown like that. So what is your problem? Like I said, I'm sorry that I'm getting adamant about it, but I brought my water to calm myself down. So this is the point. When we check, we allow ourselves an opportunity to end the hand at an earlier street. And that's what we need, because on this board, when we bet, we're very likely to see a turn, and most of those turns are not going to favor us. It's going to favor the in position player. So according to the theory, we're incentivized to end the hand. So the way we end the hand is by checking, allowing our opponents to bet at some frequency, and then us check raising all in. When that plan does not work and it checks through, now we play poker. We have to make decisions on the turn. If it comes a good card for our range, we can either A, go for the check raise all in again, or B, go bet, right? Easy, right? And guess what? Sometimes you're going to get bailed out because when it goes check on the flop and it goes bet all in, you get to just muck your kings and you just save the bet, right? So I want you guys to just think about it. Like, I think that I'm absolutely 100% like in the right line of thinking here. But the discussion's not over. This video does not mean that the discussion on the forum is over at all. I just want you guys to like be able to visualize what I'm saying. And maybe if you hear me saying it, maybe it'll sink in. Because obviously the typing is not working. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. You know, like I said, I commend you guys for fighting for what you guys think is the correct line of thinking. But I hope you guys like kept an open mind in the things that I said. Just remember, like when you're out of position, on a board that is not favoring you but favors the in position player, you are incentivized to end the hand at an earlier street, and that usually means check raising all in or check raising or something like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and with that said, peace.